Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to our Women Together Connect session. I'm Antoinette, and I am glad to be here with you hosting this session. Today, as usual, we will do a little practice time and connection with ourselves, and then we'll connect in with each other. So it's wonderful to see us all joining in both here on Zoom and also on YouTube. And I already see the hellos coming in. So wherever you are, if you'd like to send a little hello, you can type it in the chat and share where you're coming from and what yeah, sometimes we share a little bit about the weather, but any little intro, little hello is always lovely to hear just where we all are today. It's a wonderful Tuesday here. I'm in New York in Cortland Manor, and what's known as Cortland Manor, but Lenape land. And just connecting in with place is a wonderful way to start our time together. As we reconnect and align, often we do these tiny practices, and one is starting by recognizing the place that we are in, our little place here on earth. And we've got many of us, so a warm welcome to all of you who may have been joining week after week, and a warm welcome if this is your first time with us. It's wonderful to have new friends. So a warm welcome. We have Winchester, Massachusetts, Bemidji, Minnesota, Sweden, Watertown, Mass, Arlington, Mass, Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio, Cambridge, West Palm Beach, Florida. We've got a birthday in Boca Raton. So happy birthday, Linda. Hope you have a wonderful day and glad to be part of it. Simba too. It's a beautiful, cloudy, rainy day in Vermont. We've got New York City. Lots of happy birthdays coming in for you, Linda. We've got Philadelphia, Hartford. Oh, the trees are wilting due to drought. Yes, we've had a severe drought coming across the Northeast. Rockland County, New York, and lots more happy birthdays. And I'll just check in on our YouTube and see if we have anything already coming in there. Just a warm welcome to all as we land here together today. So let's see, we've got Owatonna, Minnesota, I believe that is, and welcome. We've got a first timer here on YouTube, and California in after the fog. It's expected to be warm, so we hope you're enjoying your morning on the West Coast and that you have a beautiful day. And today is really about renewing ourselves. It's about landing here together. And I find this moment in August to be a really good time, as here in the Northeast, we see, the leaves already starting to fall. The season is already starting to change in the nighttime, and we start to feel this sense of letting go. And it's just the beginning, but it's sort of letting go of the summer that sometimes feels like it just began. But in many ways, as we do that, we start to think about, and as we let go of something, we start to consider what's possible again. And we do that in many phases and stages of our lives. So it doesn't just need to be seasonal. But we also might consider that after 2.5 years or so, almost, of being in this global changing world and the pandemic, and what really brought us together in this weekly cadence of being together online. And so much changes, so much has, for many of us, being outdoors, some of us beginning to travel, and just reconnecting in person with people, what that actually means for how I connect, how I stay resilient, how I show up. So that's what we'll focus in on a bit today. And we have more coming in on YouTube. Austin, welcoming in the rain. So wonderful. So we are just welcoming ourselves, welcoming the rain, welcoming each other. And as we do that, I invite us to just land with a moment of stillness, just land with what is coming up for you today. So if you can get both feet on the ground, that's a great place to start. Just exhaling everything out completely from the belly, from the chest. Then filling the belly, inhaling, filling the full chest, just taking a deep breath and relaxing. Just noticing the energy that you come in with today. And checking in with the body. How are you, body? How are you doing? Checking in with from the ankles all the way up to the shoulders. Just noticing, not trying to shift or change anything, just noticing what is here today. Feeling the feet connected to the ground, to this place on earth that we are inhabiting. Feeling also the connection to the space just above the head. So feeling both connected to earth and to sky. Just noticing if there are any thoughts that start to creep in. And if there are any, just noticing them, saying hello, letting them go. And then perhaps asking yourself, what brought me here today? What brought me here to this little place, to this Zoom call, to this connection with this beautiful group? What brought me here today? And then welcoming whatever it is, whatever intention you have for today, just letting that be here. And then you can reconnect with the screen and reconnect with, if you're on Zoom, you can go into the top right gallery view and you can just connect with all of these wonderful people. And if your video is not on yet, this might be the time to just connect in on video and just swipe through the little boxes here in Zoom and pick a few and just send a little warm welcome, a warm welcome to these wonderful women who are joining here today. A wonderful, warm welcome. So both birthday greetings for our birthday girl and then warm welcome to all. Beautiful. And bringing in all these different intentions that we might have. So if you're on YouTube or on Zoom, you can type directly in the chat a little, what brought me here today? So I already see sharing connection in the chat. And we'll just take a look for what's coming up for all of us. What brought me here today? So what brought me here? Love, slowing down and being with. Work from home is lonely and working from the office with no one else is also lonely. So being here together makes a big difference. Being present with other women. This time feels like a metronome to me. I love that. Just taking back into connection. Sense of connection, a tribe, interesting and thought-provoking conversations, attachment and detachment. Oh, we've got my husband and I are home with COVID, thankfully mild cases. I'm so happy to be here today. We are so happy that you are here, and we hope that you recover quickly and that there's no lingering symptoms for you there. Wonderful tingling sensation on the skin when we go into contact. I love that. Even when we just do that little wave, when we feel each other, all of a sudden, even across this Zoom sea, we see each other, we feel each other, we can feel ourselves coming into deeper connection. To meet and connect with other women, this gathering is now a part of my practice. Thank you for sharing that. I'm drawn here each Tuesday for welcoming with honesty. Yes, we have honesty in this room. Being here in a sane and caring group of people who are willing to share their deepest thoughts. Hello to everyone. Time for renewal. I'll be in the classroom for a couple of hours. The class is entitled Sex, Power, and Politics. That sounds like a good theme for women together. So let us know how that goes. We've got a few more. Happy to be in this group of women, learning together, acknowledging one another, appreciating one another. We've got excitement for fall, living for today, finding new community as an entrepreneur, releasing my former community as an educator for over 25 years. Congratulations. And that is really, such a time to cultivate this renewed sense of self and the renewed sense of the practices. When we go through these transitions, it could be very large, like moving from a career of 25 years into a next phase, or it could be quite small. I got into an argument this morning and now I need just a reset. So, whatever it is that brought you here today, is really welcome. And it really, all of us are welcome here. So as we come in, creating a space for honesty, for caring, for knowing that that's what we need right now. I was speaking the other day with one of my teachers and friends, Otto Scharmer, and he said that disruption is going to keep happening as we move towards the world that we want. And as we look at what's happening in the world today, disruption is going to keep happening. And the question is, how are we going to respond? And it's small groups like this, it's groups of us coming together, cultivating resilience, so that when something does happen, we have this strength of community. We have this strength in ourselves to be able to respond and to show up and not just react in a moment of fear or anger, frustration, etc. So while those feelings are welcome too, it's how do we actually respond to those, and how do we actually respond in connection? And yeah, so I love that we have this little hello, we bring this in together, and then thinking a little bit about renewal, what that means. And I'm curious to hear from each of you, what does renewal mean for you? What does it mean to renew ourselves? And what practices do you already have? So for me, I find that going out in nature has been incredibly refreshing and rejuvenating for me. It really is a place where I just think the other day I went for a bike ride and I went outside on my bike and I just rode down the trailway, and being with the trees and the marshes, it just opened up another part of myself. Sometimes we call that an organ of perception. We need to step outside of the day to day. And then I come back to Zoom and I'm like, how did I spend this many hours on Zoom in a day? But ask me in winter and I'll be really happy to be on Zoom again. So it just depends. For some of us, this is exactly the right medium to be able to connect. So I'm thinking about, what does renewal mean for each of us, and what does this time, what do we do? What do we practice to find renewal? So I see already Laura saying renewal, discerning what brings energy and letting go as much as possible of what doesn't. This brings a renewed sense of purpose. I love that. And I think, that very much aligns with how I think about renewal. In part is about letting go. And, and I think about the leaves falling and the change that happens. Part of renewal is purging out the stuff that we don't need. And so that could be clearing out the closet, or finding that allows us to notice, oh, this feels right on my body, this doesn't anymore, just checking in with what feels right. We do this obviously on our body, but also inside. What do we actually need to let go of? What behaviors or thought patterns are actually like an old skin? They're still there, but we just need to kind of do the snake against the rock thing, and let it start to fall off. We've got a few more shares in here. Suzanne says, imagining the deep fluid cellular level of the body. I love that. It invites us into really, really a deep reflective practice of what is going on at every moment. We are these molecules. We are this constant coming together and letting go process. Rediscovering old passions that have lain dormant or been pushed to the side by life. My female cat decided she needed to renew herself too. I love that. I'm curious what old passions, Deborah, in part because I find, for example, getting on the bike for me, and that's not everybody's thing, but for me, it was like, oh, the sense of freedom that I had when I was a child too, so connecting with this thing that I had done, an old passion that really just brought me back to myself. Reviewing the past, Doreen says, changing my perspective, setting new goals, taking different steps. Yes, and often we can't necessarily take new steps unless we've really reviewed what's happened. So how do we look at the data? What's happened? Reviewing the past. And then how do we shift perspective on that? So reviewing the past and then shifting perspective so that we can take new steps. Wonderful. One more, Randy says, renewal for me in part is releasing and mindfully, actively practicing creativity. Actively practicing creativity, that connection to an interior spark, right? This place of possibility. Wonderful. Catherine says, alignment and intention are important to my sense of renewal. What supports me most is to stay present with myself, attending to what expands and nourishes. Renewal to me feels like a moment to moment experience, like a spiral honoring the flow of life as I move up and down along the spiral. Beautiful. A few more in here. Recentering and reapprising who and how I am. Who and how I am. I love that, Susan. And throwing away any habits that aren't productive and self-views that are not positive. I use silent and mindfulness and meditation as a regular tool. I love that. Recentering, reapprising who and how I am. The way we spend our days is the way we spend our lives. So how do I show up? How do I attend to a conversation? I love this. Look at all this wisdom in this group. It's so wonderful. I love us coming together and really sharing wisdom with each other. I feel that is exactly where the magic is. So thank you all for sharing. And I'd like to invite us, before we turn to each other here in Zoom in small groups, I'd like to invite us into a practice. So we'll do just a little moment of meditation, and then I'll invite you to journal and jot down a few things. I'll share a couple of questions and you can jot down your thoughts. But first, let's just get into a comfortable seat, a comfortable position. You can lower your gaze or close your eyes. And again, just tune back into the breath. Noticing that even when we go up into the mind, we start thinking these things, typing and reading, that this breath is here. The steady rhythm, the steady flow is here. And sometimes just returning to the breath is an act of renewal. And with each breath, letting go of what you don't need and bringing in a little bit of the spark. Perhaps it's creativity or joy, just something that you are actually really needing today, really ready to renew, ready to recenter ourselves around. Just noticing any sensations in the body. And perhaps there are some really old ingrained patterns that are just, they're just here. Just noticing those are there, just welcoming them, that we can renew, we can find renewal just by bringing awareness to some of the old patterns as well. Sometimes the renewal is shifting from unconscious to, oh, there you are, consciousness. Oh, I wonder what brought you here. Just noticing what comes up. Then just following a little bit of a process that was already shared with us. If we take stock a little bit, what has been coming up in the last few days or weeks of your own life? What has been maybe just what's been happening for you? What have you been noticing over the last days and weeks and months? And if you'd like to, you can turn to a journal and keep this kind of awareness, but just start to jot down your thoughts. So, a piece of paper and a pen, just allowing the work of the hands. What has been up for you? What have you been noticing over the last weeks and months? And then if you were to put yourself at a kind of bird's eye view. So if you were kind of hanging out with the eagle, just flying above your own life, perhaps your own life, your community, you can see your house, your family and friends, anyone who you've been seeing lately. So you could either think about it as a being at that eagle view, or you could think about it as a helicopter view, however you want to, whichever one floats your boat, eagle or helicopter. But just really, you're looking down at your own life from above. What is it that you're trying to do? Looking at your own life from above, what is it that you're trying to do? Whether it's like getting up in the morning and getting some breakfast and just staying nourished, or is it something, you're trying to see some sort of change happen in your community? You're trying to go deeper inside. There could be a lot of different things that are going on for you, but what is it that you're trying to do when you look from above? And we spoke a little earlier about these moments of chaos and disruption that are going to keep happening, but there are also little seeds of possibility that are already here in our own lives that lead to a more renewed future, let's say. What are those seeds? What are those seeds that you already see? Perhaps it's a conversation you had with someone recently, or perhaps it's saw a good news headline somewhere in your community, or perhaps you started a new project. We saw that one of our newer friends is finding new community. So just noticing, what are the seeds, the little pieces of the new that are already here, that are already beginning. And you can just write that down and see even what the hand tells you as it starts to write. What seeds of the new are already here? And then finally, what do you need to let go of? Or what is already sort of the leaves that are starting to fall? What do you need to let go of in order to allow those seeds to flourish? What do you need to let go of? It could be behaviors, mindsets, patterns. What is it, or clothing? I don't know. What is it that you need to let go of in order for the new, those seeds of the new to flourish? For those of you on YouTube, we will let you go and have a good rest of your day. And for those on Zoom, we will turn to each other and share. And you can start with your name and where you're coming from. That's always a good place to be. Remembering that we don't know what the person in front of us had for breakfast, let alone what they might be working with, but also holding this space of possibility and care, really seeing the possibility in the person who's sitting across from you, and then sharing with each other, what is it that I'm letting go of now in order for those seeds of the new to flourish? So see what comes up, enjoy the time together, whatever may happen. And we'll be back in about 20 minutes. So we'll just try and give you a full 20 minutes of connection with each other. Enjoy the time together, and we'll see you back in 20 minutes.